Hello and welcome. My name is Lorraine of District 32 and I am having a dynamite conversation today with Peter Butler of Smarter Websites. Peter, how are you?
I am great. Good to be on the call.
Yeah, I just think we've got, I was having a conversation with you the other day around, what information is missing. And I just thought it would be really great to dig a little bit deeper into, websites, of which it's one of your geniuses.
Yep.
Websites, why we know that it's better to have, a highly professional website done by, a professional organization. But for a lot of small businesses, that's just not possible yet, right? So they're still building their own WordPress websites. They're still looking for hosting themselves. So this video is around, what are the blunders there of doing it yourself? What are the blunders of a website that you might have done yourself or someone else has done for you, right? So we can
Yeah.
check that.
Yeah, look, it's great conversation. And for those who do get their own website build their own or whatever, I mean, that's great. I've got a saying about that 70% is good to go. Better to have a web presence that's not perfect than no web presence. Our longest project was 3 years and 1 month.
Wow.
Because the person was a perfectionist and I forced him to go live.
Yeah.
And because better to have a web presence than none. And so
Wow.
the big mistake is that people, because it's a really big project, getting all of the information, the images and the customer journey, the copy, everything. And they build it and it's like, oh my God, it's done, it's live, and they think that's the end of the journey. It's actually not. It's just the very beginning because websites are dynamic. You've got to constantly be evolving them. But look, the first big blunder, so I've got 10 specific blunders. I could run through 20.
Yeah.
But the top 10, the first one is maintaining the website. Now, updating the plugins, the base platform, and WordPress is the best platform on the planet to build websites in. I just want to mention that first off. Yep. It actually commands 44% of the world's websites. Now, you don't build in WordPress because it's got 44% market share. It's the reason it's got 44% market share is why it should be considered. Now, it doesn't mean to say Shopify and other platforms don't have a place. Squarespace was originally designed for photographers, and it's great in that space. I find particular industries that have a lot of imagery use Squarespace, and WordPress would be a better fit. Better to SEO, better further extensions, add shopping cart, whatever. Anyway, we sidetracked. Maintaining your website, updating the plugins and the base platform. Now, it can be done by yourself, but you've got to make sure you do backups first, just in case when you do an update, it fries something. If you don't have a good backup, you can't revert to it and you are in trouble. And we were in a District 32 meeting. We have the member presentations. It was my turn. And I thought, hang on, let's just have an open forum and let's have a look at each other's websites. As we were going around looking at each other's websites, one was in the like a healthcare provider industry. I clicked on one of the pages to review it, and all of a sudden, up on the screen, pornography. Wow. It was like we were floored. It was like, whoa, what happened then? And I thought maybe my browser had been compromised, something. So we got out of there, got off the site, went back to the site, went to a different page, and boom, same thing.
Wow.
That happens. And people don't know. Now, a lot of people think, the hackers won't try and hack my website. They'll only go for the big boys. Like Sony got hacked 3 times in, I think, in as many months. They will actually target small business owners, and there's a reason for that. The reason they hack is to do 2 things. They try and access the emails and compromise the emails. And we had a really large Perth furniture supply centre. I can name the company because they're now defunct. Minx Furniture, very upmarket, 3 locations. They had their emails compromised. Tens of thousands of emails were sent out with compromising information and really damaged the branding of that company. And it was because they didn't have secure passwords. And, the people in District 32 security could attest to this. So that's one reason why hackers do target small businesses. The other reason is that they have they place backlinks within the website to their preferred site. In this example earlier, it was pornography, which was atrocious.
Yeah.
And so, there's a classic example of what can happen. Now, the thing is, a good hack you won't know about.
Yeah.
Our example was a bad hack. We found it, we cleaned it, we got the site. So maintaining your website is really important. Now, this is not a sell, but we do hosting and managed support. Self-manage it, get us to do it, get somebody else to do it, doesn't matter. Just make sure it's done regularly, like on a weekly, if not fortnightly basis. So that's
number one blunder is not maintaining your website.
Exactly, yeah. And the second one is web forms. Now, I can do screen sharing, but I'll just talk about it firstly. When you build a contact form or any of your forms, just make sure that it gives a good user experience. For example, how many times, and I'm sure there's people listening that have filled in a web form, they've pressed submit, and did it go off? And they get no success page. They don't get redirected. They don't get a success message. Like, they don't really know if the form worked. So there's two things there. Firstly, it's a bad user experience. When somebody comes to your website, you need to impress them. You need to take them on a journey. And the first thing is having a success page telling them the next steps. Let's say it's a simple contact form. We'll contact you within 24 hours as a success page message, and also to send out an email saying, hey, we've got your message. We guarantee we'll respond within 24 hours. So whatever your message is, you're giving a better user experience. So that's blunder number 2.
And check it, because sometimes there's a default one on there. We were going for ages on one of our forms, and it says on the back, "Thank you for filling out my form," and that was it. So, oh my God.
Right. Which is actually, and tied closely into that website blunder number 2, like having a good user experience on your web form is number 2. But test your forms is number 3. It closely related, but actually test your forms. We've had people say come to us and say, "Oh, I haven't had an inquiry for 3 months." 3 months? Are you serious? Why are you contacting? Like, we can't go and test hundreds of website forms. You've got to make sure if there's a change in inquiry rate, find out why. Go to your website, fill in the form yourself, see what happens. Make sure it's using, because software does update. Things do happen with software. So make sure you test your form. And my recommendation is test it every quarter. Oh, look, it's summer. Test your web form. Oh, look, it's spring. Test your web form. Every quarter, test your web form as a proactive action.
I think that's great. And it's like, sometimes it's not even just the web form. Sometimes you might have changed an internal process. Like we moved different form providers. Right? We did a whole back end change and changed 9 out of 10 forms on the website. And then we wonder why these, it's just because you forget. You forget. So you have to spend time looking at your website. Does it still work? Does it still function? Is it still relevant?
Yeah, no, that's right. And you just prompted an example, actually. We had a client, we built a website, we integrated a particular CRM with it, and they went and changed CRM, and they did that with another independent contractor. And I think it was 4 months, and he said to us, "We haven't had any inquiries." And it's like 4 months. And I went there, and it's like I could recognize the code. It was the other CRM. They hadn't, even though they'd done this CRM setup, they hadn't changed the check the form. So quite disastrous. That's a lot of money you're leaving on the table. So yeah. So website blunder number 4. We're ripping through these too, by the way.
We are. But there's important stuff, right? It's key points here that people just overlook. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the other thing is too, go to your website. And the overarching statement of this is, are you as easy to contact as you think? Right now, I am horrified at some websites because we inherit websites, and then we don't always get a chance to rebuild them. We might just do the hosting and managing. And I go to the website I check it on a desktop, and I can see, okay, there's a phone number, there's a contact us page, there might be a booking form, there's whatever. So easy to contact, easy to move forward through to the next stage. But then I check it on a mobile, and it's different. Like I had a particular client where I wanted to phone them and I was looking on the mobile. I just could not find anywhere to be able to contact them. So it was really quite, distressing. And if their business is not moving forward, quite often they're looking for other reasons why the business, and they're just not making it easy to be contacted.
And I think, again, we forget the obvious on there. I've made the exact same mistake. It's not been with the contact form, but it was been, when people look up District 32, they're looking for an event. But there was nowhere to book an event.
Yeah, right.
That first thing is like, where do we go? What do we do? And it's like,
Yes. Yeah. And we miss it. And sometimes we're too close to it to see those things because we're on autopilot. And when I pointed that out to the owner of this website, they were quite horrified. One of the things we do when it's on a mobile device, we generally have a floating call now button. So it doesn't matter as they're scrolling up and down the website, because you don't want to have to make people scroll all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom to find the phone number. Like on a desktop, you can see it. It's all there. There's the call button or there's the number. But on a mobile device, if you have a floating call now button, it doesnent matter where they are, boom, they can just do that. So, so something to be mindful of. Check your website on different devices as well. Mobile phone and a tablet, and make sure it all works as it should. Because you invest a lot of time, a lot of money, and you're going to make sure these things work on different devices. So the other one, and I'm going to share my screen for this, and before I do, so people aren't distracted, basic SEO, search engine optimization, right?
Okay.
Now, I get business owners say to me, yeah, but that's not how I get my business. I get it by referral, I have strategic partners, networking, whatever that is, and I really only have a website for due diligence. I accept that. I totally get that. Don't disagree with that. However, you knew there was a but coming, right? However, why would you not, even if you don't invest a lot of money into SEO, just have basic keywords about your service, what I call common sense SEO, right? So, because Google literally come to your website and they say, hey, business owner, tell us what you want to be known for. What title, what are the key words? And so I can show what that looks like. So I'll just share my screen. So the whole world of SEO is not as complicated as what a lot of people think. So obviously I'm using my website. I could use yours as an example. But I've got a little Chrome extension tool here. So I've shared this before, but it's called SEO Meta in one click. It doesn't do anything magic. It just makes it easy for me to view the title and the description. Well, so Google come to I know, it's just right there. So Google will literally come to your website and they're saying, tell us what you want to be known for. Well, this is what you're telling them. Web design Perth, website design Perth, websites Perth. So they're all different search terms, followed by a description and a number to make it easy to contact. Oh, speaking of that, I better update that. Anyway, so that's what, so note to self. So that's what you're telling Google you want to be known for. It's really that simple. Now, quite often, and you can see this, like you'll see it, it's up there, Web Design Perth. So what I just showed you is also displayed in the tab. So if people go to their website and it has the word home up there, you're not telling Google anything. You're like the other trillion websites that have no SEO. Home is the default setting. Why would you not at least, as I said, have common sense SEO terms up there so at least Google can rank your website for what your core services are, your core business products or services are. Does that make sense?
Expect an email update from me, Peter, on that one.
Say again?
Expect an email update from me, Peter, on that one.
Yeah. Point taken. So, and then one thing on that, and a lot of people think that Google rank websites. They sort of actually don't. They rank web pages. Each page has its own keyword, its own identity. So and I won't go there, but if I went to any one of our services, social whatever. The key term in there would be related to that service offering. So Google rank web pages, and then the website will get ranked collectively. If that makes sense. So it's very important to just have in that very basic SEO at a minimum. So that's what I would speak to on that.
Beautiful. And again, it's important. And I think you referenced something earlier to say, I don't get my clients like that. But every little helps, and after a year, after 3 years, after 4 years, after 10 years, it appears, you end up with the spider web of things funneling through Google. It does help you in the end. And if you can do it cheaply and easily, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's a classic example. Actually, only happened last week. We did just the homepage SEO on a business website. He didn't need internal pages being done for his different service products, and so we did that. It was very cost effective for him. And I did a check. Now, we did this about 7 months ago. Now, last week I was looking at it. He has got 65 keywords ranking as a result of the homepage SEO, because the homepage was very clear on the broad range of services that he offers. And so then Google, when they've indexed, and people hear index, what does that mean? Well, index, no exist, that's all. And a search engine literally comes to the website, it looks at that first off, and then it just crawls. It's probably another term that people have heard. Crawl is just follow the text and follow all the links on the website. That's all it is. And because we got the homepage SEO right, they've indexed the other pages, and they've actually got rankings now across 65 keywords, which is incredibly powerful. And your point, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, yes. Because if I look at a site and it's got the word home up there, and I think, my God, this business has been in play for like 10 years or 6 years or whatever it is. And if it had that, it'd probably be on, say, page 2 or 3 in Google, which means that, like with Google, it's like you don't exist. Then you get into the top 10. Then you get into the top 3. And then you get to page 1. So, they stood a chance of actually ranking quite well, very easily. So, certainly worth considering, that's for sure.
Absolutely. We're all looking for more clients, right? So let's do what we can.
Yeah. So the next website blunder is about trust and credibility. And I'll stay on my site again. So, you can see here I've got a reference to our reviews. Yeah. So, what other people say about us is incredibly powerful. It's much more powerful than what we say about us. Yeah. So it's the same as referrals. When you get a referral, that's incredibly powerful. Your chances of conversion are much, much higher. And it's, that's what these are in effect, is referrals. So I've got, 238 verified 5-star reviews. I've got reviews here. So I've got to update that. Actually, I've got 244 just showing off. But they are incredibly powerful. So if somebody's on the fence, because you got to think about it, when somebody comes to your website, they either don't know you exist and they found you on Google, and so they're vetting you from the word go. So that's incredibly powerful. Or they do know about you, and so there's a good chance they're going to convert, and this is just going to validate that again to convert. Yeah? Absolutely. So displaying them in different ways. So I've got this display here. I've got this display here, and then further down here, and better load. Well, that's embarrassing. This here is supposed to load. It might be the recording software that's stopping that. My reviews will load there, and then I can go to all of the reviews. So I've given people multiple ways by which to get to my reviews. So, I've got it up in the menu and the other places I've just shown.
Which is trust.
The other part.
Trust.
Sorry,
trust.
Say again?
Trust.
Trust.
Everything.
Yeah. So the other part of that, and I don't have that displayed that well on my website, so I won't scroll down, is, where you're your associations, your industry types, your chamber of commerce, you're an authorised supplier, licensed industry registrations, network affiliations. All of those elements should be displayed so that it all gives you credibility. It all reinforces that trust, yeah? So, and I see that done so badly. Now, I can scroll down and show that, but I won't. I want to focus on the information for people to go and check their own website and look at those elements, yeah?
Absolutely. Thanks, Peter.
Cool. So the next check is around images. Now, using stock photos is fine. It's great. It's what most people do, unless you're in a particular industry. We work a lot in the custom home builder industry, and stock images are really not appropriate in that space. They really need to get their own product images. Having a placeholder image when they go live is absolutely fine. I'm just going to stop sharing. However, you need to get your own images. Now, that photo of me at the top of my site has only been up for probably a year now, and I've been in operation for 17 years. So clearly I was quick off the mark, right? To get that personal photo. I did have other photos. But, I use the standard stock photo where there's a guy drawing on a whiteboard and whatever. And, there's a whole range of those images and quite common. And that's okay to start with, but make sure those stock images you use are really high quality stock images. They have to be crisp, they have to be clean, but make sure they're not big, so they, in as much as file size, and they slow the load speed of the website. Because, nobody likes slow loading websites, right? It's like waiting.
Don't tell it. Yep.
Yeah. So, and we'll cover a little bit more of that in another session where we talk about, creating your competitive advantage. And I've got a whole series of, tips around that.
Beautiful.
But getting back to creating those using high quality images is paramount. But then change those stock photos out for your own photos. We've built some incredible sites where I really resonate with the business owner because I see their own images there. And those images are really telling a story. We've got some fantastic photographers, certainly in District 32, that can give you those images. And the thing is that then when people actually speak to you on a Zoom call, whether it's face-to-face, whatever, they already know what you look like. They're already connecting because they're seeing you. And then, I've had people... I can remember walking into a retail scenario once, and the guy behind the counter, we were having a scoping session, and he walked out really quite quickly to me. Hi, great to meet you, because he knew what I looked like with the imagery on my site. It was, the trust again is there. So it's really important to have a look. It takes effort. It takes time to get that done, but the investment's not that great. So certainly... absolutely worth considering. Step number 9, or blunder number 9. And I see this a lot. I mentioned earlier, our longest build was 3 years and 1 month. The next one down from that, I don't have in years, but I have in days. The project management software we use tells me that in days. And it was actually 567 days, right? It's crazy. And we went live and we got a review from the guy. Oh, my God, in the first week, I've already had 2 leads come in. They've actually booked appointments with us. I can't believe that it took so long, and I know that's on me, right? He owned it, so that was cool because, we want to get websites live. But the overarching title of this is Imperfect Action Beats Perfect Inaction, right? Imperfect action beats perfect inaction, because we see people getting caught, and this sometimes applies to people who have pre-existing website, they're getting a rebuild, they're getting it rebuilt, and they want to get everything perfect. But if I look at their old website, it's horrendous. It's really displaying their business so badly but they're dragging their feet on getting their new website live because it's not perfect. But hang on, 70% is good to go. That's a saying I've developed over the years, because you can always tweak it, change out images, add copy, whatever it is later. Because if what you've got is what you're going to have is better than what you've got, just get it live and don't do the perfectionist thing. It's really important.
To hurt yourself in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's detrimental. Yeah. Just get it. And look, and I apply it to myself, like my lot, even though this is my space and this is what I'm really good at, I can be prone to, the same errors where, I'm wanting to release a marketing process or a lead magnet or whatever, and I want to get it right, but I challenge myself on that. Is it acceptable? Yes, it is. Good, great, make it go live. And then sometimes I review it and I say, well, actually, it's fine as it stands. I don't need to come back and get it perfect. We all want to present professionally, not look amateurish, but not at the expense of not moving forward. Yeah?
Yep, 100%.
Cool. And blunder number 10 that I've seen, and this is probably the biggest standout of all, and I know that you would fully agree with this. In fact, I know people you've said this to. Not building your database. Not building your database right from the get-go. Now, I did. And I grew a massive database. And about 7 years ago, I wanted to purge that. So I grew that to about 14,500. But there was a particular group of people in there that I wasn't targeting, I wasn't marketing to anymore. So I cleaned that up. So I've removed those. They're in a list somewhere. The email accounts are probably not valid now, half of them, because I wanted to make sure that I was only talking to people that related to my business in its current format. And that's quite a healthy list. I can market to my list, stay in contact with my list. If business gets quiet, I can go hard on email marketing and turn the business around. But the thing is, people, again, complicate the simple. It's this, imperfect action beats perfect inaction. I'm not sure which CRM to use. I don't know. But a spreadsheet is not a CRM. I collect the details. I don't care what happens. Yeah. Build your database. But move to a CRM very quickly, because there's a massive expense to it. And there's an incredible opportunity when you're building your database, to communicate, to liaise, and you're building the value of your business as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've seen some just real tragedy stories. I can remember a guy who was in a property maintenance business, was in the network, and he'd been going for over 20 years. And then he couldn't do that anymore, and he was moving on to something else. And so a couple of things there. One was, he didn't build a database. So that's 22 years of customers, of jobs, of potential referrals. So if he had that many jobs in there and was marketing to them, he would have been sustainable just by marketing to customers and the money's in the database. But then also the not having that costs him, his business. But then even if that wasn't costing his business, that your database and the engagement of your database is then a saleable asset.
Yeah,
somebody
absolutely.
That just for the database.
They would.
Massive.
Yeah, and I know a local business only last month that had storage, shelving product, and they weren't able to sell that, but they had a database. They were able to sell that. So, you're absolutely. And the opportunity to build your business when you're communicating regularly with your clients is absolutely massive. And I've seen small business owners, in fact, one this year, had some advice from somebody that, you don't really need a CRM. And I was like, are you serious? Like, it doesn't matter how many people you're putting through your business. To have some sort of client relationship management software is absolutely vital.
Non-negotiable.
It is non-negotiable, critical, essential. Absolutely. So that wraps it up.
Thank you very much, Peter. There's a few things in there I'm just going to check on my website. I know I've got 2 wee updates to send to you to ask to do on our website after that. So that's fantastic, right? Because if I'm getting little tips, so is everybody else. I think there's some real fundamental information in there that you will help. You know, there's the content in this book going to help businesses to grow, which is fantastic. So thank you very much for sharing the nuts and the bolts.
Cool.
I think it's always good to look at your website too, because it's a real nice reference of what a website should be, right? So just to go back and forth with that is good for people. If they're building it themselves, great. You know, or if there's missing a different provider, great. But let's build the machine.
Just keep going back to it. Keep building the machine. Absolutely. Just knowing that your website's dynamic and having a look at, you know, because everything changes every quarter. You know, if you look back over the year, where are you now and how are you leveraging it? Should things change? I had a one-to-one with a member only earlier this week, and there was a lot of clarity, you know, so seek out a third-party objective person, but just make sure you're not getting advice from your grandmother, because I do get concerned about that, because everybody has an opinion. Make sure you have marketing knowledge and insights. Get insights from them. Absolutely.
Peter Butler, thank you very much. I'm going to pop your details down below in the comments, just in case people would like to touch out. If they want some touched up on the website, they want to have a conversation, then you can reach out to Peter below. Peter Butler, Smarter Websites, thank you very much for sharing your information. You are a business legend.
Cool. Thank you kindly.
See ya. Bye.